This conference,
Huh? What?
this conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So today we are going to discuss about one more service called storage account. When it comes to storage account, what kind of information you can store? Images, text files, JSON files, PowerShell scripting, any kind of information you can store in the storage account. Can I store some tables? Yes, you can store tables. So first let's see what is storage account. So I will directly create the storage account itself so that you will be able to understand what it does. Then we will go to the description and see this. Whatever you store in the storage account, it becomes highly available, securable, durable, scalable, and redundant. Wherever you see redundant, just consider it as a copy. Wherever you keep it as a redundance, that just consider it as a copy. And see this. I want to create under this subscription and I want to create it under this resource group. And what is the storage account name? I'm going to keep it as my own storage, some random name. I'm just going to keep it as dev. My own storage dev. If I use at the rate symbol, is it going to accept? No. If I use at underscore, no. If I use capital letter, no. You just need to use only small letters and numbers. Okay, you just need to use only small letters and numbers. Okay, I'm just keeping it as one. Where do you want to create this? West US 3. And what is the performance that you want for storage account? Standard or premium? There are two things. If you go with the standard, recommended for most scenarios. If you go with the premium, recommended for scenarios that require low latency. You know about the latency, right? Okay, if you are trying to access something, if it is giving you the response very slowly, that means a latency is there. So in real time, if you want to go with premium, you can go with premium, but nobody goes with the premium because that they are going to charge you more. So let's go with the standard. What is the redundancy? And see the redundancy types here. LRS, GRS, ZRS, GZRS. What do you mean by all these things? For example, let's consider I am creating a storage account in this institute. Okay, so in this institute has power supply, networking, and everything. Suddenly, in this line itself, there is no power. There is no power, and there is no generator also in this, no UPS also. So, whatever I stored in this institute, am I going to access it? Not possible because there is no power supply. Okay, so there is so much kind of power issues in this institute. So, what I will do is one copy I will keep it in this institute, and in Dilshuk Nagar also we have one more institute. I will copy one more copy there. Even if this institute goes with power down, still I will be able to access the data from Dilshuk Nagar Institute. Okay. What if the complete Hyderabad itself is gone with power shortage? No data, right? We cannot access the data. At that time, what I will do? Okay, Hyderabad is having problem. So I will store in two locations in Hyderabad and in two locations in Chennai. Okay. So in Chennai also two locations I stored my data. If I'm not able to access the data from Hyderabad, still I will be able to access the data from Chennai. Chennai and Hyderabad both are down with the floods and tsunamis. Then what is the next option? I will store my data in the Central US and one in India. Even if India is down, I can still be able to get the data from other countries. What you are doing actually in this, you are just copying the data in different places, right? So that's what I called it as a redundancy. So where do you want to store the data? See, LRS. LRS stands for locally redundant storage. I call this institute as a data center. Within this data center, there are four floors. Consider like this institute has four floors. I stored the data in each floor. Even if one floor is having power issues, from the second floor I can get the data again. What if the complete this institute itself goes with power outage? there is no data, right? That time we will go with GRS. See this lowest cost option with basic protection against server rack and drive failures, and recommended for non-critical scenarios. LRS is going to be very cheap. LRS stands for local redundant storage, and it is going to be very cheap because you are just storing all the data in a single data center. And this is not suitable for your real time because here clearly they are saying recommended for non-critical scenarios. So then what I will do, I will go with the GRS, Geo Redundant Storage, intermediate option with the failover capabilities in the second region and recommended for backup scenarios. So I forgot about this institute. I'll keep one more institute in where Dilshuk Nagar. Still, I will be able to access the data, right? Even if this institute goes down in the Amirpet. Okay. What about ZRS? Zone redundancy. So that means it's a different zone. So locations are changed. Intermediate option with protection against the data center level failures and recommended for high availability scenarios. If I change the different zone, even if one zone goes down, from the second zone I will be able to access the data, right? Yes, this is for this one. Geo zone redundant storage. So geographically different zones. Let's consider East Europe, West Europe. Like this, you can even consider optimal data protection solution that includes no offering for both GRS, that include the offering of both GRS and ZRS. So it is a combination of both GRS and ZRS. You can get with this. As of now, for my practice, it is not important. I'll just go with LRS because very minimal cost. And next go to advanced. So forget about all these other tabs as of now. We will discuss those tabs later. Just review and create it. Okay, validation is success. Now I stored. Now I started creating it. So once the storage account is created, we will see the options inside it. So while this is getting created, we already have some storage accounts. I'll just open that and I'll show it to you. See, these are the storage accounts. Okay, let's consider this is my storage account. See, you can see the storage account and see the types here. Go to this one. So what kind of information that you can store in the storage account? See here, they made something like this. Okay, let's wait for our own thing. So just refresh and the deployment is completed and I'm able to see my storage account here in few seconds. What is the storage account name that I created right now? My dev something, right? Last it will end with one. Yeah. My own storage dev one. Okay. This is the storage account that I created. Now I want to store some data into it. How can I store? To store the data, we have four different kinds. What is container, what is file share, what is queues, and what is tables. Okay. So first, let's go to containers. Containers is like a folder. You can create n number of containers and you can store whatever the data that you want to store. So first I'll create a container. I'm going to keep it as dev. What is the access level that you want to give this container? So if you keep private, no other person will be able to access this. Only organization people will be able to access. If you keep blob, what is blob? So as of now, just consider like private and create it. So only the organization people will be able to see this. Okay, just open the container, and in this container, whatever I want to store, I can store. So I just want to upload a simple file. So upload, open the folder and go to desktop, and here let's take start some HTML page. I just uploaded it. Okay. Now once I upload it, see this. It is blob. Whatever you upload in the storage account, it will be considered as a blob. Blob stands for binary large object. Binary large object. whatever I create a container, inside the container if I upload, it is going to be treated as a blob, but here it is showing as a blob. Basically there are three kinds of blobs: page blob, append blob, and there is one more, blob. Page blob, append blob. I will show you the description about that. So as of now, I uploaded a file. I want to share this file to everyone. So what I can do, so just click on the file, and once if you open the file, they will give you one URL. So take this URL and give to the guy. They will be able to access the file. Now just see this. What was the error? Resource not found, because you made it as a private. No other persons will be able to access directly this file. Okay, so since I made it as a private, I'm not able to access this file. So let's go to container, and this is the container, right? What is the access that you have given? Private. I want to change this access. So how can you change this? Change access level. I want to make it private to blob. So anonymous persons can read it, right? Okay. Okay. I just may changed this blob. Sorry, I just changed this container to blob access. So that means there will be access to read access. Okay. Now go here and hit enter. I'm able to see my application here, right? So that means if you keep it as a private, no anonymous access. If you keep it as a blob access, like if you keep it as this access, what happens is blob, you are giving the blob access. So we have a container. Container means nothing but a folder. We are giving permissions on folder level or file level. Folder level you are giving as of now. So containers are folder. Inside a container, you can upload n number of files. So each file will be considered as a blob. Blob stands for binary large object. Okay. What about the other access level? So let's see. I want to change the other access level. What is this? Container. Anonymous read access for containers and blobs. Not only for the blob, even they can access the other containers also. So within a storage account, I can create a number of containers, and in each container, I can keep a number of blobs. If I keep blob, it will be they will be able to access only that specific blob. But if I keep container access, they will be able to access the blobs and containers also. Containers means it's a folder. Okay. So now I want to check this. I kept container level access. Whether they will be able to access this or not. If I keep container level, see this. Still they will be able to access it. This is the page, right? Okay. Now these are the different kinds of access levels: private, public, blob level. So on a blob level, if you want to keep, you can keep the blob level access. If nobody wants to access your storage account, like storage information, then you can keep it as private. If anyone wants to access containers and blobs, then you can make it as container level access. Okay. So we created a storage account, but did we specify any kind of 5 GB, 10 GB, 16 GB like this? No, we haven't specified. Then how Microsoft is going to charge for this? Microsoft is going to charge per the amount of data that you retrieve from the storage account. For example, I have created a file called start.html. Now everybody wants to access this file. So that means there is more demand for this file, right? Now, if I keep it like there are three kinds of access levels for this access tiers: hot, cool, archive. Hot means if anybody wants to access this file very frequently, then I need to keep it as a hot tier. So that means more demand. Only sometimes people used to access this, then I need to make it as cool. I want to save this as an archive. That means somewhere I just want to keep it as an archive. I don't want to access this frequently or infrequently. Just for backup purpose, I want to store it somewhere. So you can make it as archive. Now, hot means frequently accessing. Cool means infrequent access. If you are accessing it frequently, the cost should be more or less. More, right? So Based upon the access type, they are going to charge you. Okay. Now I want this file to make this tire as cool time. Now right now it is hard time. So that means the cost will be high. I want to make it as cool. You can make this access tire as cool. See, optimize the storage account cost by placing your data in the appropriate access tire. So based upon the tire only, they are going to charge you. So in interviews, they are going to ask you the questions like, what are different kinds of access tires in storage account? Hard, cool, archive. What is hard tire? If you want to access the data very frequently, then you need to make it as hot tire. If you want to infrequently access the data, then you can make it as cool. Okay, fine. By selecting the access style, you will be able to change the access style of that particular file. Okay, now I have the storage account and I have uploaded some container, and inside the container I uploaded a file. Okay. If I want to edit this file, is it possible within the storage account? Yes. So just click on the file and you will be getting the options like this. When was the last time they modified this file? And if you want to edit the information, you can edit the information also here. Okay. So this is the way we can make use the storage edit to edit the files. And even if you want to download the file, you can download the file. That's fine. So till this point, it is fine. And let's consider now I want to give this access to a person. I want to give the storage access. Now tell me, you have a folder called important. In that important folder, you have three movies. Some person is asking for only one movie access. You will give the folder level access or file level access. Okay, why? Because we need. If I give him the access for the other two movies, he will directly see the movies. I don't want him to give this. Like the same way, I have my storage account. I want him to access only a specific file. How can I give him the access? So you will go here and you will simply copy that URL link and you will give it to him. This is fine. This way he can access. If you keep the access level as container level or blob level. Okay. Now consider a scenario. I will give you the storage account name. I will give you the password to connect to the storage account name. If I give you the password and the storage account name, then you will be able to log in directly into the storage account and you will be able to access everything. So first see, storage account already, name we already know it. And now we want the storage to connect to the storage account, we need a key. Where do we get the key? Basically, you will get the keys from access keys. So go to access keys. So here they are going to give you the storage account name along with the keys. Now tell me why they are giving you two keys. What do you think? For example, when you buy a bike, they are going to give you two keys. Why? Spare, right? But for this account also, even if they forget one key, they can connect it. It is not like that. See, I have a storage account. For security purpose, what they are trying to tell me is always change your password. Okay. I have a storage account. To connect to the storage account, first I am using the first key. At that time, second key is free, right? Now I need to rotate the second key. So what happens? A new key will be getting created. Okay. So we have the latest key of the second key. So second key is latest. Now I will take the latest key of the like I will take the second key and I will try to connect to the storage account. It will connect. Now the first key is empty, right? We are not using the first key. Then I will change the first key. Rotate the second first key also. In this way, we can keep on changing the keys, right? So that way I can provide the security. So that's why they have given you two keys. What is the connection string? That I will explain later. From the application point of view, if you want to connect to the storage account, they need to provide the storage account connection string. So what is contained in this connection string? See this. Default endpoint protocol. They want to use HTTPS protocol to connect to the storage account. What is the storage account name? This is the storage account name. And to connect to the key, they are going to provide the key also. That's it. To connect to the storage account from the application side, they can be using connection strings. Why there are two keys? Security purpose. Okay, when you say security, what kind of security it is? So rotating the keys. Keep on rotating the keys provides you security to the storage account. Okay. Now I have the storage account name. I have the key. If I give the storage account name and key to you, you will be able to access the files, blobs, containers, and everything, right? Is there any restriction did I give? No. Directly you are able to access everything. So I want to provide you the restricted access to a specific file or to specific container. How can you provide? So for that you need to create a shared access signature. Shared access signature. This is called as SAS token. Shared access signature. A shared access signature is a URI that grants restricted access rights to the storage resources. Now you understood what is the difference between access keys and the SAS token. If I give the access keys, directly we'll be able to connect and see everything. But I want to give you the restricted permissions. At that time, I can make use of this SAS token. So if you want to give restricted access, then you can make use of this SAS. And for example, I want to give this token to why I will give this token to anybody, because I don't have trust in them. If I give him the complete access, he will make delete whatever he want to do, he will do. I want to give him the restricted access. In that case, you can make use of this as okay. I want him to access only the blobs, not the files, queues, or tables. Only the blobs I want him to access. And I this particular blob should be opened only in his laptop. Can I make like this? Yes, you can also make like this. In order to do that, first I need to take the IP address of that person and I need to add it here. So when he is trying to access it, it will just compare that okay, this is the IP or not. If this is the IP, give him the access, or else it won't open. Like this, even I can add the IP address of that person also. And also, I want this token to be available for him only from morning 9 to 10. Even you can keep that permission also. You can start set up the start and expiry time. And also, I want him to only read. I don't want him to list, delete, or add. You can provide him the only read access. And see, I want this to be open only on a HTTPS protocol, not on HTTP. HTTP means not secure. So I want this to open only on HTTPS. Like this, I can generate the SAS or not? Yes. So on an interview point of view, this is going to be very 100% interview question. What is the difference between access keys and SAS token? If you provide the access keys, they will be able to access everything. If I want him to give the access of like restricted, then I can give him SAS signature, shared access signature. Okay. So like this, you can create the start and set up the expiry time, and you can create this SAS token. So for example, just keep the key and let's take this. I want to give him the access of all these. Let's consider like this. Start time and end time you need to keep and allow the service type to be this and generate the SAS signature. It is going to give you a string. See what is that blob endpoint? To which blob they want to connect it to. Like this, you can provide the connection string to the person whoever you want to. So from the application side, they will be adding this. From the application side, the developers will take care of this. What you need to do is you need to generate the SAS token and give it to them. They will be able to use this token. But you know, right, why we used a SAS token? Okay. Till this point, it is fine. I'm able to add whatever I want to, like I want to upload. I can create a containers and I can upload whether it is an image or whether it is a .exe file, whatever I want, I am going to upload it to here. This is fine. Now, basically why we use storage account to store a large amount of data or a small amount of data. I have a requirement where I have a Visual Studio software. There are 100 developers. They want to install Visual Studio in their local system. Am I going to give the URL to them and try to install? No. Let's consider I have a software called PUBG. I want this software to be given to 100 people. How you can share? Through email? Through email you can share only up to how much? 100 MB or 40 MB? Okay, somehow. So through email I cannot share it. Then how? At that time the file share comes into the picture. If you want to share a large amount of data with a number of clients, then you can make use of this file share. Okay. Now I want to make use of this file share. So just click on file share. What is the file share name? Share one. I'm just keeping it as like this. What is the tire? See the tires. Hot, cool, transaction optimized. Enable transaction and heavy workloads that doesn't need a premium level latency. So if you want to make use of hard like transaction level, whenever there is a demand, based on the demand, give it a good output. So at that time you can make use of transaction optimized. I'm just keeping like this. If you take transaction optimized, see the maximum input output operations 1000 per second, and ingress rate 60 MB, egress rate 60 MB per second, and the maximum capacity that you can use is 5 TB. So you can share the data of 5 TB to other users. Okay. Now I'm okay with this. Just create this. I created a file share. Now the 100 developers needs to have that file, right? Now just open this file share and they need to connect to this file share. How? Let me show you. So click on connect. From which system they are trying to connect? Either it should be Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. They want to connect from Windows. Okay. So here they will going to give you the script, show the script, and see here, copy this one. I need to give this script to the 100 developers. So they will open PowerShell and execute this script, so that they will be connected to the machine, connected to the file share. We need to prove that practically, right? So I cannot create 100 systems. I'll just create one system, and I will show you how they will be able to see the information. Why we use file share? To share a large amount of data, we use file share. So in order to share this to a number of developers, what they need to do, they need to have connected to this file share. So that's why I clicked on file share and I'm trying to connect to the file share. Right now this VM1 is there, right? I will try to show it from here. So for this VM1, copy this IP address. Windows R MSDSC. So this is the IP address. I'm able to connect to the VM, and once after connected to the VM, I need to execute what? This script. Whether this script is PowerShell, command line, or bash. How you are saying that it is PowerShell? Because I said it, right? Yeah. So this is a PowerShell script actually. So you need to execute this in the PowerShell script. Okay. See clear it here itself. To connect to this Azure file share on Windows, choose from the following authentication methods and run the PowerShell commands from a normal. Okay. So this is my Windows operating system VM. Let me cancel this because I don't want. I clicked on start button. It is not responding. We'll wait for it. PowerShell. By default, for every Windows system, PowerShell will be enabled. So just click on this. You already copied the script from there, right? I'll copy the script from here and run the script over here. Shift insert. Just from this. I will ask the 100 developers to run this script. So once they open the PowerShell, and it is going to show you, see this, credentials added successfully, and a file share is connected to this. Okay, so let's verify where it is connected. Windows E for the file explorer, this PC, and you can see your file share one, right? Now, if the software is available here, I can just directly copy it and paste it in my desktop. Now let's do that thing. So this is the file share, right? Okay. In this file share, I'm going to upload a file, simple file. Just open the folder. Test2, I just want to upload. Okay, upload it. Now I have uploaded some file into the share. Now let's verify here. We are able to see that file here or not. See, it is there. Now tell me one thing. Once I uploaded the file to the file share, I'm able to see that file here. Now if I create a folder here, is it going to show it there? Let's see. IMP. Fine. Refresh this. Understood. So if 100 developers want to share the information from one on another, they can even make use of file share. Now I have a doubt. I have taken 500 GB for this. I want to decrease the size. So edit quota. You can make it up to 1 GB. Understood. Even you can change the size. Earlier I took for 5 TB. Now I just made it to 1 GB. Okay. Add a directory in the sense a folder. See here. Here itself it will add a folder. Okay. Now the people are trying to access the file very frequently. Then you can make the change tire to be hot. So based on the transactions, I just made it. But if you want to make it as cool to reduce the cost, you can reduce the cost by making cool. Okay. So this is also file share. So I am using storage account to store the data as well as to share the files, a large amount of data to n number of clients also I can make use of file share. Then what about queues? Queues are used for messaging. When I say messaging, it is completely related to the application side. You don't have to make any changes. So all you need to do is just create a queue. What is the queue name? My queue. I'm just keeping it as a queue. And inside this queue, you can add whatever the message that you want to add. So add a message. I'm going to make it as hello world. So this will be directly used by the developers. You don't have to take care of this. You just need to understand why we use queues. Queues are for messaging. Create a queue and add this message and give this queue to the developer. So give this URL to the developer. They know how to use it. Okay. So queues are for messaging. Even if you try to browse this and see what happens. Let me just click on this, and where is this URL? Edit metadata access policy. That's fine. Okay. Just take this and try to see what you will get in this. You get nothing because it needs to be done from the application side. What you need to do is you just need to give this queue to the developer. That's it. So queues are used for storing the messages, and you can also set the expiration policy for the messages also. So in real time, they are going to keep it for at least 7 days. What about tables? So if you want to store some data, students' data, employees' data in a table structure, you can make use of these tables. Now I want to create a table. So students' data. I'm just going to keep it as students. Add this. Now you need to add some data into it. How can you add it? You need to give this URL to the developer. They knows how to add the data into this table. So as a DevOps engineer, your duty is to create the table. But how they can be using these tables, it is their responsibility. So even if you take this URL and try to browse it, you will get nothing from it. See? So you won't get anything. So it is the responsibility of the developers actually. So basically they will be taking care of this queues and tables. Why we use tables? If you want to store any kind of unstructured data, then you can make use of tables. What is structured and what is unstructured is a different concept that we will discuss when we are discussing with the SQL Server about the database I was saying. So within the storage accounts, we have four kinds. What are those four kinds? Containers, file share, tables, queues. In which scenario you use file share? With a number of clients, you can make use of file share. What is container? It's like a folder. What is what is the definition of the blob? Binary large object. Okay. Now, when I uploaded something into the container, it showed as blob. What is blob? What is page blob? And what is append blob? So let's see. What is blob? Black blobs are optimized for uploading large amount of data. So if you want to upload a large amount of data, then you can make use of this blob. Then what is page blob? Page blob in storage. So Azure storage offers three types of blob storage: blog, append, and page. So let's see the differences. Sample use cases: pricing, REST API, and reviewing the blobs, reading the pages. I just want to give you this. Blog blobs are composed of blocks and are ideal for storing text or binary files or for uploading the large files efficiently. If you want to store your data like a large amount of data, then you can go with the blob. What about the append blob? Append blobs are also made up of blocks, but they were optimized for append operation. What do you mean by append? Today I have created a file. In that file I added one line. Next day I want to add one more line. Next day I want to add one more line. So what I was doing, did I replace the file? No. For the existing file, I was just keep on appending the operations. Appending is like adding the number of lines. If you want to do that, you can go with append operation. Then what about the page blobs? See, making them ideal for longer logging scenarios. Making them ideal for logging scenarios. That means for each and every application, there will be a log file. Log file will always keep on updating, right? Whenever you perform an operation, the log will be stored in the log file. So it will keep on append operations. Page blobs are made up of 512 bytes page up to 8 TB in a total size and designed for frequent random read and write operations. If you want to upload a large amount of data, then it is a blob. If you want to frequently access a large amount of data, then you can go with read and write operations. If you want to perform, then you can go with page blobs. Okay. Now, till this point, we know that there are three kinds of blobs: page blob, append blob, and blob. Now, there is a scenario. Whatever I store in the storage account, what happens? Where it gets stored? Whatever you try to store it in the storage account, it is going to maintain three copies. But you are going to pay only for one only. But they will keep three copies. Why? Because they want to have the data always available. Because always available in the sense, if this institute goes down, still I have the data in the Dilshuknagar institute. That means my data is always available, right? So that's what we call as high availability. High availability of what? My data. So this storage account, in this storage account, whatever you store, it is going to store it in three times because to maintain the high availability of your data. Okay. Now let's see the description about storage account. Introduction to storage account. Yes. And What is the benefits of the storage account? See this first. Durable and highly available. Redundancy ensures. Redundancy means copy of. So making multiple copies with the help of that, your data is safe at the event of transient hardware failures. Even if somewhere it fails, again you will be able to get the data because you already copied three times. Because Microsoft has it for three times copied. Secure, and it is always secure. How you can say that it is secure? Because we are using HTTP and HTTPS protocols, and we are using SAS token also, and the encryption can also be happened. And see this, all data written to the Azure storage account is encrypted by the service. By default, encryption is going to happen. And the Azure Pro Storage provides you with a fine-grained control over who has access to your data. That means SaaS. Scalable. Like if you want to increase the storage locations to different locations, like you want to copy the data into multiple locations to make the data high available, you can also scale it. And you can also manage whenever there are hardware maintenance and network issues, all this. And see this, we have four kinds of data services: block, files, tables, and queues. And disk is not like important as of now, disk we will discuss later. So there are four kinds of data services: blobs, file share, queues, and tables. And yeah, as of now this is fine. What kind of data that you can store in the SQL? So it is a unstructured data. When I say unstructured data, the data will not be like looking like in a structure. When I say structure, it should not be like this. It's not like this. So you will understand all those concepts when we are discussing about SQL Server. Okay. So if you want to store the data in a tables in an unstructured way, then you can make use of this Azure tables. Fine. So put some time on studying about this, then you will be able to understand. Okay. Till this point, it is fine about the storage account. I'm able to store whatever I want to, and I'm able to give the access to a specific people. And if I want to give the restricted access, I'm able to give the restricted access also. Now, I want to host an application. Where did you host the application earlier? Storage account. Sorry, in the app service. For the app service, it is like what is the file that I have hosted? Simple.html page, which is of 120 bytes. For hosting 120 bytes of sample HTML file, I'm wasting n number of cost, right? If I go with S1, I'm just wasting n number of dollars. So I want to host a static website. When I say static, only client side scripting is enabled. Server side scripting is not enabled. So when I say static, if you are having HTML, CSS, JavaScript, with these you have created an application: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. With this you have created an application, and it is a very basic application. For hosting a basic application, earlier I used app service, and they are going to charge me a lot. So I left the app service. I went into IaaS. But for IaaS also, I am going to pay the amount, right, for the virtual machine. That is also costing more. What is the next step? Storage accounts. In storage accounts, we have the option for this. That is called static website. In the static website, you can only host static applications. When I say static applications, the code that is written inside it will be HTML, CSS, JavaScript. If you are using React.js, AngularJS, Node.js, this is not possible. Only static pages, simple pages can be hosted in static website. So in storage accounts, we have an option called static website. Static website within the storage account. Now, here by default it is disabled. And see here, enabling the static website on the blob service will allow you to host static content. And web pages may include static content and client side scripting. Server side scripting is not supported. Node, Angular, React, all these are not supported. Only some sample HTML pages are supported. As data is replicated synchronously from primary to secondary regions. Okay. What about the primary and secondary? I will explain later. So as of now, see this. I want to enable storage account, static website. Save it. I just enabled static website and I stored it. And see this, once I enabled, I got this new line, right? What it is showing, an Azure storage container has been created to host your static website. So that means earlier where did you host your code files, like a site root? If it is IIS, inet pub root. Now if you want to host your static website, you need to upload the files into container. The container is $web. So click on this $web. You will be going into this container. Do we have any files here? No. I want to show you how a static website runs. So I just want to have a host, like a sample HTML file. So I'll take this test2 and upload it to the storage container. I have uploaded it. Okay. I have uploaded test2.html file. Okay. Till this point it is fine. Now let's go back to the static website itself. Consider that there are four HTML pages. Four HTML pages. Test1.html page, test2.test3, test4.html pages. In that, I want to load test2.html file. That means you need to provide default document, right? So, in the index document name, you need to provide that file name. This acts as a default document. So, I'm going to make it as test2.html. Before writing this, what I will do is I have uploaded the file, right? Just save it. I'm not making any documents. I just uploaded the file and saved it. If you go to the containers, here in the container, you are able to see the $web and you are able to see this test2.html file. But how to access this? So that's where you need to go for static website. In the static website, they are going to give you the endpoint. So this is the primary endpoint. By browsing this only, you will be able to access your application. This is the URL of that. So take this and paste it here. And see, the requested content does not exist. What is the status code? 404. That means page not found. You have a file that is in the $web, but it is not able, when I browse this URL, it is not able to find which file to load. So there you need to specify the index document name. So which document you want to load when I browse this URL? Test2.html file. Just save this. So within the static website itself, you will be able to get the URL of that static website, and there you need to specify which document it needs to load. Now come here and browse this again. Now you will be able to see your test2.html file. Like this, if you have a simple HTML pages without any server-side scripting, then you can make use of these static websites, and it is going to cost you very less. Okay. Now index document is fine. What about the error document? Sometimes if you are trying to browse any websites, they will say that the site is under maintenance. Is it is it the custom message or what it is? They have created a HTML page. In that page they are mentioning like the site is under maintenance, and that file they mention here. So if there is any error when they try to browse this URL, if there is an error, it will go to this error document. In that error document you mentioned the site is under maintenance, they will be able to see like this. Earlier what was the error? The request content does not exist. I don't want those kind of messages. I want to keep only my custom message. So I will create error.html page, and that error.html page I will load it here. So that's how I can even specify the error document also. So till this point, any doubt? So in storage accounts, we have seen the four kinds of data services that we can store, and then we have seen static website. And see, yes, in the earlier I was discussing about different locations. So basically, in every real time, there will be maintaining two locations. One is primary, second one is secondary. What is primary? Where my data will be always. So if I want to access the data, I will go to the first primary. If primary is not available, then I will go to the secondary. Like this, if I go with LRS, what happened? It is only one single location that is related to one data center level. If I go with the GRS, ZRS, what happens? Two different, three different locations I'm going to get, right? So that if you want to manage, that you can manage here. See the primary location. It is here itself in the West US. So when you are creating, try to go with the ZRS or GRS and see for different locations. Okay. So that is also fine. And as of now, what we have discussed was data storage. This we have discussed. And when it comes to security, like when it comes to here, we have data managed, we have static website. We discussed this. Now I have a question. Whatever I store it in the storage account, is it going to be secure or not? By default, it is secure. How it is secure? Because the encryption is happening. By default, it will give getting encrypted. And if you want to give the restricted permission, you can also give the restricted permission so that you can rotate the keys. All this. Okay. So till this point, any doubts? Okay. As of now, I have only one storage account. So for this one storage account, how I am uploading the files, going into the container and uploading the files. Let's consider I have 10 storage account. I want to copy it from one storage account to other storage account. Can I do it directly here? You can do it, but it's a big process. I want it to happen very easily. So then we have a software called Storage Explorer. Storage Explorer. You need to download that file, download that software. And once you have downloaded, it is going to ask you give the user ID and password of the Azure, and then it will list out all the storage accounts. You can just simply you done WinSCP, right? Copy paste that like that you can do it. Just drag and drop it. That's it. So by using the Storage Explorer, you can do it, but in real time, nobody uses this. It is just a software which you can manage the storage accounts. If there is a situation where you need to move all the data from storage 1 to storage 2, this is useful. Okay. So if you are okay with this, no doubts, then we will continue the class. And